Hey everyone, Leo Kelly G, and today we're looking at the song that put John Mayer on the map and cemented him in the minds of everyone as that guy. Your Body is a Wonderland. This is a pretty easy song as far as John Mayer tunes go, however there are a couple of complicated chords in the pre-chorus and some quite advanced fingerstyle parts in the bridge and the breakdown on both acoustic and electric, and so I'm going to class this as an intermediate song to learn. For some easier songs that you can learn in just 5 minutes, you can head over to this video right here and come back when you're feeling a bit more comfortable. If not, let's get into it. Before we start, if you're interested in learning John Mayer songs, I've got a whole playlist of playthroughs and tutorials which you can find right here, or by subscribing to my channel. I post a new tutorial every week, and so by clicking the notification bell, you'll be the first to know when I bring out any new content, and you can watch it as soon as it drops. Alternatively, you can head over to www.patreon.com/LKGguitar and get access to tabs and tutorials before anyone else. Let's dive right in. So first things first, the song is in drop D. And so your E string is tuned down to a D. You can either use a tuner, or if you haven't got one available, if you use the octave or the harmonic on the 12th fret of the new D string, it should be the same pitch as the open D string. That's where you can check. So we're going to start off on the 8th fret of the A string with your first finger, and then you're going to bar the 10th fret of the D and the G string with your pinky finger. From there, we're going to pluck the A string first with your thumb, and then with your two fingers, you're going to pluck the D and the G string up. After that, we're then going to slap onto the A string with your thumb, and then you're going to pluck all three strings together, A, D, and G. So we have thumb, fingers, slap, and then thumb and fingers. And then from there, your pinky finger is going to stay in place, but then your ring finger is going to come down onto the 10th fret of the E string, or the new D string, and you're going to do the same pattern again. Everything you did on the A string, you're just going to do it on the E string instead. So thumb, fingers, slap on the E string this time, and then thumb and fingers. From there, you're then going to move down to the 8th fret of the E string, or the new D string, and do exactly the same thing again. Thumb, fingers, slap, and then thumb and fingers. Then back up again to the 10th fret of the E string, thumb, fingers, slap, fingers. And that repeats around for the entirety of the verse and the chorus as well. So slowly, if we put the whole thing together, we have this. And that's the riff for the whole of the verse and the whole of the chorus as well. So the main riff that the electric guitar plays, goes through the verse and most of the choruses of the song as well. And it's the only thing that this guitar part plays. So if you get this down, then you essentially you have the whole part of the song. And it's just a question of then just missing it out in the places where it stops. So we start out with a slap on the D string with your thumb on your right hand. And then you're going to play the 10th fret and the 12th fret of the D string with your thumb. And then you're going to bar your first finger across the 10th fret of the G and the B string. So you have slap, 10, 12, and then pluck those two there with your fingers. So thumb, thumb, fingers on your right hand, and then 10, 12 on the D string, and then barring the 10th fret of the G and the B string with your first finger. So we're going to do that twice. Like that. From there, we're then going to do a hammer-on pull-off, but it's going to be a double one. So you're going to bar, again, keeping that bar on the 10th fret of the G and the B string. You're going to hammer on and pull off on the 12th fret of the G string with your ring finger, and at the same time, you're going to hammer on and pull off on the 11th fret of the B string. So you're going to go like that. From there, you're then going to slide that shape up. So you're going to put it back on again, 11 and 12 on the G and the B strings. You're going to slide it up to 13 and 14. So we have that little part there, like that. And that's essentially the whole riff. So and that repeats through the whole of the verse, through both pre-choruses. It doesn't play in the first chorus, and it also plays through the bridge and the breakdown as well. If you want love, make it. So for the pre-chorus, you're going to start out with your thumb on the 8th fret of the low D string, your first finger on the 8th fret of the high D string, so an octave there, and then your pinky finger and your ring finger are going to be on the 10th fret of the G and the B string. And the pattern's going to be very similar to that we played in the verse and the chorus as well. So you're going to start with your thumb, but then this time, instead of plucking just with your two fingers, you're going to pluck your three fingers on the D, G, and B string. So thumb, fingers, slap, and then this time, instead of playing the same thing again, you're going to take your pinky finger off of the 10th fret of the B string, and you're going to bar all the way across the D, G, and B strings with your first finger. So we end up with this shape here where you've got still the 8th fret of the E string, and then you're barring across the 8th fret, but also with your ring finger on the 10th fret of the G. So we end up with this shape here instead. So we've got thumb, fingers, slap on the E string, and then pluck up with your fingers again, but take your pinky finger off. So the new shape. So you have then thumb again, pluck again, and then slap. And then instead of playing the 8th fret again, you take your finger, the whole hand off, play the open D string very, very quietly. So we have, and then from there we're going to do exactly the same thing essentially, but instead of being on the 8th fret of the low D string, we're going to be on the 10th fret instead. So it might need a bit of a position shift. If your hands are big enough and you can get your thumb round and keep your first finger in place, which my hands aren't big enough to do, you can sort of play it John Mayer style. Otherwise you can use your middle finger instead. So we do the same thing, thumb, fingers, slap, and then change to your barring so you can get the 8th fret of the B string. So thumb, fingers, slap, fingers, and then slap again. So, and then back to the low, quietly open D string, and then that repeats 3 times. So we have, third time, and then from there we're going to go down to what's essentially a G minor chord, but because we're in drop D, the low G note is going to have to be up 2 notes, so it's going to be in the 5th fret instead. So instead of having the normal sort of 3, 5, 3, 3 shape you have for a G minor, you have 5, 5, the octave there, and then 3, 3. John Mayer plays it with his thumb. If your hands aren't big enough, again, you can use your pinky finger and your ring finger instead. And then very much the same kind of pattern we had before. So thumb, fingers, slap, pluck together, and then moving up, everything up 1, 2 frets. So then A minor, so 7, 7, 5, 5. From there we move up to a B flat chord, sort of Hendrix style again, so fingers in a line on 8, 7, 6 on the D, G, B strings, and then either thumb on the 8th fret of the D string or ring finger and pinky finger instead. Then move it up again to make it a C major chord, and then we're back into the chorus. So all together we should hopefully have something like this. Back into the chorus. So the second electric guitar part comes in the first chorus, and we're going to start off with 4 muted notes, just muting the strings and the strumming down, up, with your pick. From there, you're then going to do a double stop on the G and the B string on the 10th fret with your first finger, and then you're going to play the 12th fret of the G string with your ring fingers. We have down, up, double stop, and then played note there. We're then going to do the same thing again, down, up, but then instead of doing a double stop, you're going to play the 12th fret of the D, 12th fret of the G string, and then the 10th fret of the B, and then you're going to play the 10th fret of the G string as you move down. So the second time through we have like that. And again, it doesn't matter too much if it ends up being a double stop and you end up playing the 10th fret of the B string as well as you move through the second time. The main thing is just getting the groove and the vibe. So all together we have this. When you get to the end of the first chorus, it ends just with the 10th fret of the G and the B string as a double stop, so like that. When you get to the end of the second chorus and go into the bridge, we do a quick hammer on from the 10th fret to the 12th fret of the G string, so instead. So the bridge is nice and easy. We start off on a D minor 9 chord, and it just goes between 2 different variations of the same chord, essentially. So we start off with your pinky finger on the 12th fret of the A string, your middle finger on the 10th fret of the D string, and your first finger up on the 9th fret of the G string. And you're going to pluck with your thumb on the low D string, and then you're going to pluck the A, D, G strings with your fingers. And then wait another bar, do that one more time. Then the third time through, technically it turns into a D minor 6/9 chord, because we're going to pluck the same chord, then pluck the open B string, and then back up to the G string on the 9th fret, so like that. And the last time through, we're then going to go to this D minor 9 shape up here. So ring finger on the 7th fret of the D, first finger on the 5th fret of the G, and then your middle finger on the 6th fret of the B string. And then we're going to pluck the D string and then the G and the D strings at the same time. So we have first, and then from there we're then going to have plucking the high E string. So pluck the high E string, pluck the low D string, pluck the B string, and then G string, E string. So all together, hopefully we'll have something like this. Pluck again, then pluck, B string, G string, then pluck. So the breakdown section is going to start in the same place that the bridge finished, so keeping the same D minor 9 chord, and you're just going to pluck the low D string and then the G, B and E strings. And you're just going to do that 4 times through, nice and easy. And then from there, we're then going to move to this little shape up here. So the same shape as you had for the verse and the chorus, but without your first finger being on the 8th fret of the A string, so just barring the 10th fret of the G and the B string with your pinky finger. And then this little pattern where you're going to go slap, pluck, without pushing your fingers down. So slap, pluck, and then pluck up with your 2 fingers. When you pluck with your thumb, make sure you're plucking on the D string, and then you're going to pluck with the G and the D string with your fingers, so like that. And then you're going to pluck the D string again. So slap, pluck with your thumb, push your fingers down to pluck the G and the D, and then you're going to pluck that same D string again with your thumb. So we have like that. And then as you move through, you put a slight swing on it, and you're going to play it through for 4 bars, so we end up with this kind of groove. Which is a really cool pattern, and it gives the song a nice bit of energy going into the last chorus. So all together, hopefully, you have something like this for the breakdown. 3 more times. 2 more. This is while the electric guitar is playing the solo part. Then when the electric cuts out, we then have last time through, you don't play the extra thumb note because then you're going back into the chorus again. So the breakdown section is just moving through a series of 6, sort of picking out a melody and then harmonizing it a 6th below. So we start out on the 12th fret of the G and the B string with your ring finger and your pinky finger. We're then going to go down to the 9th fret and the 8th fret of the G and the E string. So from there, we're then going to go to the 8th fret of the D and the B string, and we're going to slide up quickly to the 10th fret, and then from there we're then going to go back down and play the 8th fret of the 2, so we have, and then from there we go to 7 and 6, so all together so far we have, and then from there we're going to hammer on back to 8 and 8 again with your ring finger and your pinky finger, and then we're going to slide from 10 and 10 back down to 8 and 8 again, so all together we have. We're going to start in the same way the second time round, without a slide this time, so straight to 10 and then 10 on the D and the B, and then we're going to go up to 10 and 10 on the G and the E, and then down to 12 and 12 on the D and the B, so we have like that. Third time through is exactly the same as the first time. And the 4th time we do the same start. From there we're going to go all the way up to the 15th fret of the G and the E string, and then down to 12 and 12 where we started. So, and then right at the end we just have a little riff, which is on the 8th and the 6th fret of the B string. So you're going to bend ever so slightly the B string, release it, and then pull off to the 6th fret, and then hammer back on the 8th fret again, like that. So all together, I hope you have something like this. Then again, same as the first time. And then just that little before you're back into the chorus. And that's the whole song. So that was my tutorial for Your Body is a Wonderland by John Mayer. Subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell if you'd like more videos like this one. If there's a song that you'd like me to do a tutorial for, leave me a comment down below. If you'd like the tabs for this song, head over to www.lkgguitar.com or stick around and you can watch another video right now.